How do you know what the three most important things are that you should focus on in order to have a strong marriage and a great marriage? It can be hard to know because there's so many different opinions and thoughts out there. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you what I believe are the three most important things, but realize that these are three most important out of several, many, dozens that are important. But I believe that when it comes to really having a strong foundation that you can build your marriage on top of, you have to have these three things. My name is Kimberly Holmes. I'm the CEO of Marriage Helper. I also have a master's degree in psychology. I've been trained as a marriage and family therapist, and I have been working with couples for almost a decade in this type of work. At Marriage Helper, we have seen hundreds of thousands of people go through some type of iteration of our courses and online courses and workshops and trainings that we do. And we have had an amazing success rate at helping couples stay together and creating a stronger marriage than they even had before. We would love for that to be you as well. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel because we want to give you the best free content that we can. And we're releasing it every single week, multiple times. So hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you'll be notified every time something new drops. You'll want to see it. All right, so let's talk about the three most important things in your marriage. The first one that I'm going to start with is mutual respect. And the reason that I start with that one instead of love or commitment or any of the other ones that you might hear out there, or having sex every single day of the week, which honestly isn't even healthy for either person, but that's a different video. But the reason I'm not starting with those is because I believe that in order for you to really create a strong relationship to where both of you are hearing each other, wanting to listen to each other, actively listening to each other, it really starts with having respect. Because when there's a relationship that lacks respect, either on one partner or both partners' parts, then that is where you all of a sudden begin to have a person who looks down on the other. If I am married to my husband and I don't respect him, then basically what I am telling myself, whether I am consciously saying it or not, what I'm telling myself is he is lesser than me. And if I don't respect someone as my equal, which in marriage, we have to respect our spouse as our equal, then it's not going to lead to a long-term healthy relationship. You don't want your marriage relationship to look like one of you is a parent and one of you is a child. Even if one of the people in the marriage is acting like a child at the time, that is not the way that you should treat your spouse ever. You need to treat your spouse with respect. You need to show your spouse that you see them as your equal. So what does that look like? That means that you consult them about major decisions. That means that you ask for their opinion and you listen to it. That if they've had a bad day, you listen and you empathize. There are so many aspects, even in just our communication, which we'll talk about more in a minute, that can show that we respect our spouse. But it also can look like, if I respect my spouse and he makes a decision, if my husband Rob were to make a decision that I wasn't necessarily 100% excited about, if I respect him, I'm not going to attack him for that. I'm not going to try and throw him under the bus. I'm instead going to either voice my side of it in a respectful way, like a mature human being, or I may just realize that it's not a battle worth fighting and simply let my husband's desire go the way that he wants it to go. Respect can look like a lot of different things, but the bottom line, I believe that people can question and ask themselves is, am I showing my spouse that I believe that they are my equal? Or am I acting like I'm better than them? And if the answer to that is you feel like you might be acting like you're better than your spouse in the way that you're treating them, responding to them, the tone of voice you use towards them, how you communicate with them, then it's time for you to start changing some of your behaviors. So one of those first things of a healthy relationship is having mutual respect. The second one is acceptance. What does that even mean? A lot of times when people hear that, they think, oh no, I can't accept some of the things that my spouse has done. I can't accept some of the things that she's said. There's no way I would accept that. Let me let you in on a secret. There's a difference between accepting something or someone as they are versus accepting the behavior or the thing that they did. And what I am talking about here is accepting your spouse for who they are as a person. So if you are trying to change your spouse, if you have the belief that you don't like the way that they like to spend their time. You don't like the hobbies they have. You don't like the fact that they're an introvert. You don't like the fact that they're an extrovert. If you can't accept that about your spouse, then what you're probably doing instead is trying to change your spouse. That's not working out well for you. It's not. If there is a person in a relationship that feels like they have to change who they are in order for their spouse to like them or love them, it causes resentment. Over time, it absolutely will. And so one of the questions you should ask yourself is, does my spouse possibly feel like they have to meet a set of standards that I have in order for me to love them, in order for me to accept them? This could even be a question that you ask yourself when it comes to accepting things that have happened. If your spouse has been involved in gambling or some kind of addiction or had an affair, then of course you may not accept the things that they have done. But what we have to do is learn to separate the action from the person. I had some friends several years ago where the husband had become an alcoholic and the wife did not accept the behavior of drinking, doing things that were putting him and the family in danger while he was drunk. That wasn't something she condoned. That wasn't something that she was encouraging to happen, but she still was accepting him for who he was as a person, seeing that he had worth, that he had value that was separate from the action that he was currently doing at the time. And that's what we're missing in society these days. It seems like we have to accept the person and every single thing they do in order for us to love them. That's not true at all. I can accept and love the people in my life, even if they do something I don't agree with. Think about this if you have kids. You accept, I hope, your kids as they are. You see the amazingness that they have, their personalities, the way that they grow and develop, and it's something you love. You love that about them. But if your child doesn't listen to you, if you tell them to clean their room 500 times and they don't do it, that's not a behavior you accept, but that doesn't change the fact that you love them and you accept them as a person. We need to see it the same way with our spouse. The third most important thing when it comes to a mutually healthy long-term relationship is healthy communication. So important. One of the quickest things that can break down in a marriage is communication. And it could either break down by the couple no longer communicating with each other, just stopping talking, stopping those date nights, stopping asking each other questions, wanting to learn more about the other person, asking them about their day. That's one way that communication can begin to break down. I was actually being interviewed just this morning at time of recording by a radio station in Kansas. And the DJ was asking me, what is it that you see with couples that you work with? Do you feel like couples just stop being interested in each other after they get married? And I responded to him and I said, I do. And I told him this story. I said, when my husband and I started dating, we played this game called the question game every single time we talked. Every date we went on, every phone call we had, we would talk until 1 or 2 a.m. on the phone because we dated long distance for 10 months. And we would just ask each other questions, every question in the world, just going back and forth with each other's turn. And that was such an amazing part of when we dated. We learned so much about each other. And it was very unfortunate that after we got married, for some reason, that question game stopped. Because do you think that my husband or I stopped growing, stopped learning, stopped developing, stopped having opinions? No, not at all. We continue on a daily basis to change, to grow, to develop, because we are dynamic human beings. But why did the questions stop? Because life gets in the way. That's one way that healthy communication can start breaking down. But the other way is when the communication turns sour, when instead of being able to listen to each other, I mean, think back to when you were dating. I know when I think back to when Rob and I were dating, that's my husband, I was on my best behavior. He could do something that would make me mad and I would be so patient. I would believe the best about him. I would give him the benefit of the doubt. And that is how most of us are when we're dating. We are more likely to have really great communication. But then unfortunately, what happens after we get married is all of that goes out the window. Something's in the wedding cake that gives us amnesia for how to handle situations with grace and respect. But what I am encouraging you to do is think back to the way that you handled disagreements hopefully when you were dating, that was more patient, that was more loving, that was more listening, more gracious, more empathetic, and do that again, because that is going to help you to have a healthy communication now. If the communication in your marriage has become sour or negative, then you need to reset it and stop the negative communication cycle, because that is the first thing that could make a huge difference in repairing your relationship and putting you back on a positive trajectory. We actually have a whole toolkit that teaches you exactly how to reestablish the communication in your marriage and have more positive communication. Stop the negative, start the positive. We call it the Smart Contact Toolkit because it's the best and smartest way to contact and communicate with your spouse. You can find more about how to immediately start watching those videos and getting the information you need by clicking on the screen. At Marriage Helper, we want for you to have a strong marriage. And we believe that you can do that by having mutual respect for each other, by accepting each other for who you are, even if you don't accept behaviors or things that have happened, and by having healthy communication. If you have listened to this and you say, I am struggling in 1, 2, or all 3 of those areas, then we can help you. You can visit marriagehelper.com to learn more about everything that we do. We have coaching, we have online courses, we have the Smart Contact Toolkit, and we also have workshops for marriages as well. You can call our office at 866-903-0990 or visit our website in order to schedule a call to speak with one of our client relations reps to create a strategy for how you can move forward in creating a better marriage than you've ever had before. We would love to help you.